morning. How are you today? I trust all is well with you wherever you are. We're on Monday, February the 5th, as we're going through the book of Hebrews. And it's so cold in New York today. I'm all hoodied up here because I only live about 270 steps from the church. We live in an apartment not right near, a block away, so I'm telling you, it's treacherous. There's like icy slush, but it's icy now, black ice, and but I'm not complaining because I'm alive, and we need the cold weather, or so I've heard, but it's one of those days. I trust you're well where you are. I saw that in Chicago a couple of days ago, it was -1 with a wind chill of -22 or something like that. We have pastors, actually, a couple of our pastors love cold weather. They actually root for it to snow and get really cold. We're trying to get them psychiatric counseling, but, you know, they're not willing to go, but that's what they love. Everyone loves a different thing. I hope you'll love considering praying about coming to our prayer conference, Global Prayer Conference for Revival. I just read something amazing right before I came here. They're doing a study, two guys, pastors down, very bright, down in Florida, because of the de-churching of America, right? The average now church of people going to actual church is 60. 25 years ago, it was 120, something like that. 60. Actual bodies, not evangelistically speaking and all that, 60. We're going to pray that God is going to revive churches. April 19th through the 21st, get the details. It's on our website, brooklyntabernacle.org. It's open, inviting everyone, not just leaders. No, more than leaders have to pray. Fervent, interested Christians got to start to pray, and we're going to provide no fee. Just find a way to get here, and we're going to have a massive prayer meeting on Friday night, and then Saturday another one where we'll lay hands on you, the leadership here, pray that you'll fulfill God's calling on your life, and we all have a calling. So let's get back to Hebrews, but remember that. Chapter 8 of Hebrews, and we're at verse 9. Well, let me read from verse 8. But God found fault with the people in the Old Testament and said, "The days are coming, declares the Lord, where I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah." What's a covenant? It's not a contract. It's hard to put it in other words, but covenant is an agreement made as this is the way God is working with people at that period of time. In the Old Testament, it was the Old Testament covenant of the law. Do this and live. Do what? Do the commandments, obey them, and you'll live. But God found fault with the people because nobody was obeying the covenants because of the carnal nature that we all have. They were disobeying it. But God never made that covenant to save anyone, we find out in the New Testament. The covenant of the law was just enacted to show the sinfulness of sin, to get us actually to quit trying and say, I'm hopeless. Because no one can earn by the law, no one can merit by you living good enough or me living good enough for God to say, check off, sign, you're good to go to heaven. No one, not one. There's none righteous, no, not one, not in God's sight of righteousness. You might compare yourself to someone else, but and look good, but we have to stand before God. So now this covenant, God says, I'll make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah, which when Jesus came, they rejected him and that covenant, but those the remnant of people who did believe were joined by the Gentile people who believed, and that makes up the Christian church, those who have accepted Christ as their Savior and understand the glory and beauty of the new covenant. Notice verse 9. It will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt, because they did not remain faithful to my covenant, and I turned away from them, declares the Lord. This is the covenant I will establish with the people of Israel after that time, declares the Lord. So now this is an outline now of the new covenant. You have to understand this. Otherwise, you'll believe in Jesus, but in an Old Testament way, or you won't believe in Jesus at all. Or you'll just be frustrated and be making new vows. That's what the Old Testament was about, vows. I'm going to try harder. No, now I'm going to obey. I know I said that last week, the week before, the month before, the year before. But now I mean business. I'm going to obey. Alas, it's not in us, is it, to obey the way God calls us to obey. So what does God do? This is the covenant I will make. Verse 10, I will put my laws in their minds and write them on their hearts. I will put my laws in their minds and write them on their hearts. I will do it. The first covenant was, here's my law, you do it. Now God says in his love and mercy and compassion, no, if you'll just believe in the one I sent, I will do it. You just believe. Just reach out the hand and say, I take the gift of salvation. And that salvation will mean I'll put my laws in your minds and draw and etch them, write them on your hearts. I'll do it. The new covenant is not about what we do, it's about what God does for us. And that is very hard for some of us to accept. We grow up as legalists, or we have a Roman Catholic background, or legalistic background. I got to do. And the preachers kept saying, you got to do. Then God will accept you. And now it's not that at all. We're going to learn the beauty of it. But notice this. It's God doing for me what I can't do for myself. That's one of the good definitions of grace I've found. God doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. I can't write in my heart and my mind God's laws. In other words, I'll give you the inclination to obey me. I'll give you the power. I'll give you the direction of your heart to want to love others who don't love you. I'll do that. Because I'm the only one who can do it. I am love. So I'll put my love in you, etc., etc. So why don't we just rest today and say, God, Jesus, do your work in me. That's what the covenant is. We believe that's with open hands and pour it in. Pour it in. Pour it in. There's more. We're going to learn about it tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.